Hello, welcome to Super Pants Gaming. Thank you so much for joining me today. And today I've got a couple of little charity shop hauls that I've grabbed from the last week. Because basically I've been everywhere in the last week, and I must have hit about 30 charity shops. And there's also a little bit of a surprise at the end if you guys wait around for that. Certainly surprised me anyway. So yes. So first things first, I've got two main charity shop hauls here. The first one was in Scotland, and the second one was in South Midlands sort of thing. So very far apart. I must have hit about 30 charity shops, and it always pays to ask what's out the back, and that's the takeaway from this, if nothing else. So I checked out the charity shop that I went to last time, where I got the huge bundle of PS2 and PS1 games and the Wii games and stuff for my South of Scotland tour video, which I did earlier in the year, maybe sort of 6 or 7 months ago. I went back in there and there was nothing. I think there was a copy of FIFA 15, and that was it. So I was like, that's disappointing. I was hoping for them to bring a great big box out again and let me sort of cherry pick through. That would have been awesome. Yeah, so the first little bundle of pickups were in a charity shop just around the corner from where I had that epic haul in my other video. And I went in, I went out the back into the sort of back. There's a couple of little rooms sort of joined together. And then I asked the manager, I'm sort of leaning in this doorway. There's this other chap that sort of wants to be involved sort of thing, youngish lad. Said, I've been playing GTA since I was 2, and excellent. And yeah, I guess I'm really good at attracting nutters. I'm sure some of you guys out there know exactly what I mean. I dare say a lot of you don't, but I think you have to be a nutter to attract nutters. That's probably the thing. So yes, and the first pickup, he gave me this little sort of bundle of games basically, and he said, here, that's what's left. I had a load of Xbox stuff that a chap bought the whole lot of a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, don't tell me things like that, dude. It's like, that hurts, you know? It's like, but this little stack of games, there were some alright games in there, and there were some PlayStation 1 games, and the first one that I picked up was Air Combat. I couldn't remember if we had this, because I'm not very good at remembering a lot of my games, especially the PlayStation 1 games, because to be honest, I don't play the PlayStation 1 that much, which I know I should. I know I should definitely play it a bit more than I do. But yes, so Air Combat was the first pickup, and this thing has got a huge manual in it. It's like the Yellow Pages. So yeah, I could do like my weights with that, like. But yes, complete in relatively decent condition. There's a couple of cracks in the case and stuff. It's by no means like immaculate, but it was in relatively good condition. So I decided to pick that up on the risk that I didn't have it. So these games were all £1. And what I didn't realise is we do have it, but we have the Platinum version. And this was actually one of my Sensible Adults games from sort of back in the day sort of thing. And yeah, so I don't know if this is an upgrade or not. If not, it will probably go into the box. That's the box that basically it's going to live in the boot of my car, and I'm going to give to you guys. So yes, Air Combat as the first pickup. The other couple of PlayStation 1 games, I think there were just two others. There was, I think it was the Italian Job, which was a Platinum, which had no instructions and a really bad case. I think the disc was a bit ropey. And I think it was Tomb Raider 2 in Platinum as well, which I don't think had instructions either. I don't think I looked at the disc on that. So, yes. And then the second game that I picked up from there, these games, they were completely random, to be honest. It was a bit weird, because, you know, you sort of expect them all sort of be the same consoles and stuff, and they totally weren't. So, Professor Layton and Pandora's Box, which, again, is in really nice condition. And I thought, I don't think I've got that. I think I've had it in the past, but I don't think I've got it. What I didn't realise is, I believe it's the same game as Diabolical Box, which this is the American version of this, which is really weird. I don't know why they changed the name on it, so I'm sure one of you guys out there knows why they changed the name on it, but yeah, I don't. So yeah, so that is technically a duplicate, which is also a bit sort of like, oh well, but for £1, you know, I think my quid's safe with that, and even if that ends up in the box, it's, you know, that's a decent game, so I'm not too worried about that. And then the third and final game that I picked up from there, a PSP game, Metal Gear Acid. So, as you can see there. And this is in really nice condition. And there's the receipt. I wonder what had happened to that. I thought I'd lost the receipt. But yeah, So I'll put the receipt up there, sort of thing. And this has got sort of two manuals. It's got the manual, and then it's got this special, like, card manual type book thing with it as well, which I thought was kind of cool. It says on the front, special limited edition card book, but I imagine that's probably limited to how many of the game they sold. Yeah, not properly limited sort of thing. But yes, the slight caveat with this is I don't actually own a PSP. Now, the PSP was a console that was in the running for when I started doing CollectBox. And I was tempted to buy a PSP and start collecting PSP because it would have been a completely fresh start sort of thing. I do already technically own one PSP game, which is, I think it's GTA Liberty City Stories, which I bought for 50p about 5 years ago. It's the UMD, is it? Yeah, UMD only, sort of just the cartridge, the disky cartridgey type thing. I don't know, do you call these discs or cartridges? Well, I suppose I just call them UMDs. But anyway, I bought that for the simple reason that if I want to test a PSP in the future, then I've actually sort of got a disc that looks in good condition and should hopefully work and test a PSP for me. But yes, so Metal Gear Acid, bought knowing that I can't play it, but hoping in the future that I'm sure at some point on this channel I will get a PSP and we will start collecting for the PSP, because that's the sort of thing that I'm likely to do. So yes, so there you are. So those three games cost a total of £3, and I thought that was a pretty good start to the week. I was hoping that I was going to get a South of Scotland tour video type thing going, but all the other charity shops I went in, I put a couple of examples up there. They were sort of, if they had games, they were priced sort of CEX-ish, sort of maybe even above CEX. And a lot of the charity shops that I tried to go to, there's a lot of charity shops in Dumfries. A lot of them were actually closed. So I was like, okay. I think I just maybe picked a bad day, but yes. So moving on, we're coming sort of south about 300 miles now, sort of South Midlands. I popped in a couple of charity shops in other places on the way sort of through and got absolutely nothing. So, but yes, another charity shop, I've been in there a couple of times before and never really had any luck, to be honest. But popped in, asked the lady in there, don't suppose you got any video games? She said, oh, I did see some video games. She said, give me a second. And she found this like green crate. And she sort of came to the door with this green crate and I could see like green boxes in it. And I was like, oh yeah, that looks good. I like the look of that sort of thing. And yeah, so spoilers, there's some 360 games coming up. But the first game that I managed to pick up, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Now, as you can see, I'll probably put a little video up there. There were actually two copies of this. The other copy of this is probably the worst condition Blu-ray that I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't know what had happened to it. I think someone tap danced on it or something, or I don't know, used it for fixing cars. It was absolutely battered. But this one is sort of minty, sort of, yeah, it looks exactly like it should. No, yeah, you know, disc will work perfect. So yeah, so I grabbed the nice copy. These were all 50p each, so I was like, yeah, I like the idea of that. So that's the first one. And the second game that I picked up, now I couldn't remember if I bought this earlier in the year, and you guys that are watching this are probably going to start screaming at your screens. Grand Theft Auto 4 Classics. And this is in relatively decent condition. It's not got the map with it, but it is the Classics disc with the Classics box sort of thing. So I like it. They have to match sort of thing. So I picked this up for 50p. I couldn't remember. It's another one of those, I need to make a list of all the games I've got and carry it around with me. But I think you get to a stage where that becomes a very daunting prospect. And I passed that stage a few years ago, to be honest. So I don't know. Occasionally I will buy duplicates. But I do try not to. I couldn't remember if I bought this on the PS3 or the 360. Unfortunately, it was a pickup on the 360, because I have it there. And my one that I've got here is, to be honest, in really, really nice condition. And that does have the map and everything as well. And I picked that up, I believe, at the end of June, because it says 24.6 on the back with a £1 price ticket. And I believe that came from a charity shop in Kettering. I could be wrong. But I couldn't remember whether it was 360 or the PS3. So, never mind. That's that's cool. That will probably end up getting put in the box, as I keep saying. And then again, I've got another duplicate, but this was a duplicate on purpose. Left 4 Dead 2. It's a good game to have a duplicate of, because, you know, it probably has a little bit of value still. And that's complete in pretty nice condition. And I saw this, and I genuinely thought that this was going to be a sort of condition upgrade for this one. So, however, I think I may have been thinking of a different game, because my one is in really nice condition. So, yeah. So the one I got today, that's going to be a spare. I may trade that in, so I think that's probably still worth £5 or £6 trade for CEX. So we will see about that. Yeah. And then that's 50p as well. And the last but not least, another 50p game. So it's 4 games, 50p each. We have Transformers. Revenge of the Fallen. Sorry, I couldn't remember what it was called. However, there's a slight caveat with this as well. This isn't a game that I already own. And neither is Fall of Cybertron, which is the disc that's in the box. And I saw that, and I couldn't quite remember. I know there's a couple of Transformers games where the price is sort of a bit up there. And I was like, is that one of them? And I couldn't remember. I was pretty sure Revenge of the Fallen was sort of one of the more common ones. And I thought Fall of Cybertron might be one of the better ones, because I know there's a couple that go for a lot more money. So I was like, that's interesting. So I'm going to go for that and just see. And what I didn't realise, this is a 1 spindle disc. Okay, it's got a 1 in the middle of it. No, if you can see that, probably not. However, what I didn't realise is there's actually 2 discs on it. And that is the disc that should be in there. So, Fall of Cybertron, yeah. With a complete Revenge of the Fallen. So, I cannot complain at all about that. So, from that second charity shop, I think I touched lucky there. Those 4 games there cost me £2. And there's the Fall of Cybertron disc in that as well. So that, I thought, was an absolute bargain. And then these 3 games here, from the first charity shop, albeit 300 miles away, between these 2, these were £1 each. So the whole of this cost £5. And that's from 2 charity shops out of hitting about 30, I would say. That's from 2 charity shops, and that's from asking every charity shop, do you have any video games out the back? Or sort of, hi, don't suppose you've got any video games out the back, do you? Sort of thing. Yeah, and the moral of this, always pays to ask, and that's what I keep saying. So guys, when you're out and about, make sure you're asking, and also make sure you check the boxes, because you may just find a Fall of Cybertron in something else. So yes, anyway, thank you so much for being here, guys. I've been Soup. Remember, you're awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.